This is World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with your host, Carl Gruber. World Awakenings is a podcast dedicated to opening your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now, more than ever, awakening to all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how they play an all-important role in our daily life. So join Carl on this enlightening experience as he interviews metaphysical and spiritual experts to discuss, debate, and delve deeply into the hows and whys of this worldwide awakening.
The Love Tuner is a revolutionary breathing and meditation device that combines a simple yet profound breathing exercise with a 528 Hz frequency, bringing you into a state of instant relaxation. The Love Tuner is a stylish necklace that comes beautifully packaged in an elegant premium gift box. Pull the Love Tuner out of the cap and place the rounded side with the engraved Love Tuner logo between your lips. Blow into the Love Tuner gently, like on a flute, to create a smooth, long note with a constant volume. You can make the note last as long as you like. After exhaling, inhale through your nose, allowing air to flow into the center of your body. Just leave the Love Tuner between your lips as you inhale, and then exhale again with the next note. Repeat as long as it feels good. We recommend at least 6 breathing cycles. After tuning, enjoy the silence and your fully tuned state of being. Caution: love tuning may cause miracles.
Hey, welcome friends to episode number 232 of World Awakenings, a fast track to enlightenment. I'm your host, Carl Gruber. Now, entering our 8th year of doing this show for you, we continue to walk the path of exploring all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening by bringing you one-on-one in-depth conversations with some of the world's top experts and masters in these fields to expand your knowledge and understanding of all things beyond our 3D visible world. So don't forget that you can now not only watch this show on YouTube, but now you can also watch it on the brand new TV network, New Reality TV. Just click the link below in the show notes to check it out. All right, off we go to visit with our guest here. Dr. Kelly Edmonds is our guest here on episode number 232. She has a doctorate in education from Calgary University, and Kelly found her life path as an energy worker, healer, and messenger. She's been healing others energetically for 35 years. Now, Kelly can move energy, work with higher vibrations, and channel divine messages specific to each person about their destiny and answering life's bigger questions. That sounds so cool. She's helped many people to release old shackles, reconnect them to their souls, and infuse a new sense of vibrancy and life meaning. Some people refer to Kelly as the Soul Whisperer. She is also the author of the book, The Embodied Mystic, which is soon to be released. So, with that, Kelly, welcome to World Awakenings. Grateful to have you here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's really lovely to be here, Carl.
I appreciate it. You're in beautiful Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's a little cold there, but it is a beautiful city, home of the Calgary Stampede.
That's right. It's one of the biggest outdoor entertainment spectacles, I think, in the world. So we bring in, 4 million people over that 1 week that it's live in July. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and like I've told you earlier, I have been to Calgary during the Stampede weekend. It's a whole city, a large city. It turns into nothing but cowboys, and they go Yahoo!
That's right. You get to be a cowboy for a week, and you're embraced, and there's free pancakes on every corner, and yeah.
Oh man!
And apparently, in the old days, my husband he's been in the oil and gas industry for 40 years here. He's retired now, but a lot of wedding rings would come off that week as well.
Oh, Well, maybe I better go back. I'm a wild and crazy bachelor, so. All right. Well, let's find out. I am really curious, Kelly, how you got to becoming a mystic and someone who is known as a soul whisperer. I mean, see you have a doctorate in education. Were you a teacher in schools first?
Well, I grew up in a very Celtic-based family. My father was born and raised in Belfast, Ireland, and I think it just must be some of what I was inherited through that whole genetic line. My grandmother in Ireland and my aunts, my dad's sisters, they all had the sight. They would wake up with dreams, and everybody would listen because they'd probably come true. And they worshipped Bridget, the goddess, and so there was that whole realm that was just natural to have. And I think as a child, I was seeing things quite a bit that maybe other people weren't seeing, and I would. My dad said I always walked around with my eyebrows knitted together when I was a little girl, and I think what it was is I was picking up other people's energy and what they were thinking, and I didn't know how to process that. Right, I didn't know what to do with that. And then, yeah, so it was just sort of a natural transition. In my teens, I think I was very withdrawn and unhappy. And I think because I was probably picking up everybody's energy, because we are energetic sponges. You can walk through a shopping mall and you pick up people's energy. And I didn't know what to do with that. And it was probably burdening me. And then my 20s, very much like I was listening to your podcast the other day, the episode with Rachel, the angel
Oh, yeah.
from the seraphim level. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm shaking my head. Yeah, yeah. It's just sort of natural that we have this very weird cosmic connection that we're more aware of than I think everybody is connected cosmically. They're from there, right? That's how I see things. We're spiritual beings and we live in this incarnated life for a certain reason and lessons. But some of us are just a little bit more aware. We start off life early with this um, these abilities that we don't know what to do with, and back then there was nobody helping it. So I had a crazy 20s with drinking and being angry, and somewhere in my early 30s this new age movement happened where all of a sudden there was crystals and Eastern philosophy and Buddhism and all this, I tried all these things. It was like kindergarten. It was spiritual kindergarten. It was great. And I really got into it in the local native community, went to their sweat lodges. And then I took Reiki. I had Reiki done on me, which is a hands-on healing method. And just fell in love with it. My hands just started to sing. This is what I wanted to do. So I became a practitioner. And that just opened me up because my Reiki master, my teacher, did something to shift my energy fields where things just started to open up. And that was the start of it. And I just knew right away that I was psychic. I mean, I always knew that, but nobody really defined it before, except during the spiritual kindergarten year I was taking. So I started to develop. It was really easy. And then life got, busy again, and I had to make some more money because I did actually a lot of healing sessions and fortune telling, right? So with tarot cards and holding people's jewelry, picking up their energy. And so about a year or two later, I thought, oh, I got to get back to work. And I, at the time, was an accountant because I went to school as an accountant because I'm good with math. I absolutely hated it, but I knew I had to get back. And so my career started to up again, and then I got into teaching accounting, and that's how I fell into teaching. And it was about probably 6 or 7 years ago when I retired from my career. I just had this feeling I want to get back to healing again. I just love it so much. It's such a beautiful pastime in helping people. And so I started up again and I started to think about it, but I had questions. And, we can talk about this later. I don't want to go on too long about how I developed more spiritually.
Well, that's quite a journey there. I really like it, and it's interesting that you mentioned Rachel Corpus, who is an angel in a human body. That she was on my show a couple shows ago, and she too said that as a child and a young woman, she had a very difficult time dealing with it. She didn't, she was, I think she went through a phase of addicted to alcohol and everything. So angels too can have human issues. But yeah, and many of my guests, as youngsters, they think it's normal, and then life in the 3D world kicks in and tries to knock it out of you, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's like my dad used to say, because he was very, open to all of this and used to it from growing up in Ireland. He's Catholic, so I don't know if that is different, that religion, in terms of, there's still that smacking of paganism there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he says, don't go too far in it, kid. Meaning, I get that now. Like, there are dark energies or energies you don't want to get involved with. You want to get in black magic, and I don't. I shouldn't speak for anybody else. I don't. And so I understand that now at the time. So I've always stayed very much in the light. And Rachel is very connected. Angel, for me, it's a light worker. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm angelic in any way, but most certainly I come from a realm of light workers. And so I've always worked with energy and lightness. But I'm starting to explore more of the darker shadow, but also the earthy stuff, which I absolutely love. So more goddess work and Mother Earth and Celtic ancestry. And I really love that, because in my latest book, which we may talk about later, I'm starting to see you have to bridge more than just one thing to really appreciate your entire life as a human being on this earth. And really to be able to develop in a spiritual way, you have to play with all the pieces and really get to know who you are and all the layers of you, that it makes it actually more fun and understandable. People go, I don't understand. I'm stuck here. I'm frustrated. My life never changes. Yet they do yoga and meditation. And I'm here to say it's not enough. You have to really get to know who you are and then play with those parts of you in different ways, that makes it actually much more approachable and wholesome. And it makes sense. I think people are trying to figure out what's going on here. Who am I? Why am I here? And that's my role. That's what I've been called for to do. And I didn't want to. Like, it's when you put yourself out there like that, it's like, oh, there's a weirdo, but it's like, you know what I do? I actually watch a lot of near-death experience videos, because these people, share what they actually experienced in like real human terms. And it's like, okay, so I'm not nuts what I'm predicting, or tapping into, or I do out of body traveling. So it's like, okay, so that is real, even though, my soul guides are going, we're real. But it's like, well, I just need some more, proof. And so I watch those things, and it's like, yep, that's where I go.
I can tell you have you've matured to the point where you know how to harness these things that lead to the light and the love and the truth and helping people. I did discover that you could do what you call divine channeling. What is that, and was there a particular incident or experience that made you realize you could do this?
Yeah, it was when I was starting off early on and giving Reiki sessions to clients. And the first one really surprised me, because it's like all of a sudden these messages were coming forward for this client, and I'm sort of used to that in a way, but it was more defined, and I went, I can't tell them this stuff. This is weird. Like, I just took a dagger out of them from a past life. Like, I can't say stuff like that. But I did. I've always repeat what I'm told instead of like paraphrasing it or watering it down. And people respond really well to it. So that's where I thought about 6 years ago. It's like, okay, I need to find out who's talking to me. Where is this energy coming from? I needed a much bigger picture and a little bit more, not so much control, but understanding. And like, what realm am I moving in here? And then that's when I understood discernment as well, being discerning about who channels through you. So now I communicate with my spirit guides, my soul, my higher self, my guardian angels, whoever, Archangel Michael, uh, you know, beings from the seventh dimensions, being from the light workers realm. And I see them coming from me with my eyes closed, with my, my inner vision. And I ask them questions, and I've learned how to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the channeling I get. So when I do sessions with clients, I talk to their soul. In fact, I have a little soul council meeting, right? At the very end, after I get all the messages about their bodies, I'm doing healings on them and their chakras and their energy field. And then at the very end, the bigger message is, okay, who is this person? Why are they here? This is what they'll want to know. What messages do you have for them? And that's when I give it to them, and people go, wow. But people always knew somewhere deep down, they go, I've always had that calling, and I've never told anybody. Or that is me. And then the challenge is you go back to real life. And it's learning how to marry the spiritual world with the human world, the physical world, which I was also struggling with for many, many years, because on the weekends you go off with your friends, you do crystals and readings and meditate, and then Monday you have to go back to work and you're miserable for the whole week, right? That was my life in my 30s and even my 40s. I was pursuing stuff. I probably should have never got a doctorate. What an undertaking, right? But for some reason, I thought I need to have it in order to, always have a job. So it was that bag lady thing. And now I realize all the energy that I wasted on that. And I know I'm not supposed to think that. I'm supposed to think, oh, it's all these lessons. But man, if I was where I am right now, like 20 years ago, I'd be like doing so much more and helping so many more people. I don't regret anything, but yeah, that's how I think.
Well, if you're a divine channel, now I have had many, many, many channels on the show, and most of them, the channels, the being or force or energy coming through them speaks through them. You actually, now, do you just hear their words and then relay them, or does somebody or something actually speak through you?
No, I don't channel in that way. I know what you're talking about. I don't embody some beautiful spiritual entity. I don't do that. I just call forward whoever's around that person, and most certainly their soul, and they have their own spiritual team around them, whoever that may be, including their guardian angel or angels, and my own. And so I speak to them and I ask them who's there. So that's very immediate in their life, very much relevant to them. And the way I receive information is different than other people. It's, my clair is, I just have this knowing, like there is this, like they'll just give me this piece of information that's maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks words long, and then it unpacks. So that's what that unpacking or downloading is people talk about. And I just get it. I just get the whole scene, like I'm familiar with it. And that's how I get it. And the way I listen, and your listeners may appreciate this, because I also teach people how to open and strengthen their intuition and how to use it. So when I ask, anyone can do this. Anyone can connect with these people. And if you don't really connect with these people like I do, it doesn't really matter. You can still ask anything you want any minute of the day, because you do have a beautiful spiritual team around you of spirits. So what I do is I just ask, do you have a message for me today? And how I listen is I listen like you're lying in bed and you're wondering if it's raining outside. So you're listening. There's no agenda. There's nothing happening in your mind, and you're just listening. And then you sort of go to that space between your thoughts, which is very hard to stay in for a lot of us, right? Because all that mental chatter, I have tons of it too. So I just listen in that way, and it's a practice. It's a practice, and it's a practice. And then even now, like my best time, and I do this every day, is before I get up, right? I do half an hour, I do energy clearing on me, and then I also tap into my spirit team, and I ask them, do you have a message for me? Or if I have a question that they can help me with guidance, not small stuff, but bigger life stuff. And then I'll get lying there and I'll be listening, and then I'll just start thinking about something else, like, oh, I should get up because I need to go do. And it's like, oh, come back. And it's really cool. I get answers that are so bang on that I would have never thought of.
Yeah. I could see that in the morning. Your husband gets up and you're still laying in bed, and oh, dear, I'm still energy clearing. I'll be up in a little bit.
Oh, he doesn't know. Sometimes if I do too much energy work, he does wake up. Oh, I put my hand up, so I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, well, that I just thought that'd be kind of fun. But let's find out about this. You call yourself a mystic. What is a mystic, and what does a mystic do?
A mystic is more of an ancient term for someone who's a seer, someone who can work with energy. And I consider myself an energy alchemist, not just that I do clearing of energy on people, but I also work with energy to set environments. I clear my house. I can pick up energy and read it. I use it for my own, manifestations. So a mystic is someone that very much is, if you think of that one person, a shaman or something like that in the old villages,
Mm.
right? So there's usually just one or two, but the women were too. The women and the men were very much able to. So, they burnt a lot of those off, unfortunately, call them all witches. And so I just have learned to hone that. And so I'm feeling more and more connected to the whole Celtic goddess connection, goddess because I'm a female and I'm just really liking it. Something more strong is coming through in terms of it just feels like it's coloring my life more. I've done a lot of work in the divine world and the energy world, right? All energetics. And so this is a beautiful match. And those are the three things I'm teaching in my book. And I teach in courses as well, is I consider that to be on a full spiritual path, you need to look at three areas of your life and work on them. One is, and I call it the Enlightenment Trinity. So one is divine awareness, divine consciousness, divine connection. The next one is bloodline and human embodiment. So your bloodline power, understanding yourself as this amazing physical body with billions of cells, and then your connection to Mother Earth. We so resonate with her rhythm and vice versa. And I love doing connections to Mother Earth a lot, just tapping into her. And the animal kingdom, right? And the last one is energy mastery. So what I teach is how to clear themselves, how to do self healings and self clearing and getting rid of energy cords. And so you can stay enlightened more. And I think all three of those are needed. I think at least I only focused on one or two. And I think it needs to be all three. And it probably feels daunting, like, oh, great. I was just starting to pick up on, how to, through journaling, what I really feel, or I'm starting to do a lot more with, healthier foods. Now I have to figure all this out. It's not like that at all. I really do suggest for people just ask and tap into even your own inner wisdom. What should I be working on right now? But seeing yourself as this whole realm of different layers, and then there's your emotions, and then there's your perspective, your mental perspective, and all those can be actually worked on energetically. So I think of the world right now, and this is where a lot of my compassion is coming out, is that there's so much anxiety in the world, there's so much therapy and counseling, and you can actually work on that energetically. And I think probably a good chunk of that is that they've picked up other people's energies that they're carrying, right? So if you're having thoughts of like, where did these thoughts come from? Why am I thinking this way right now? It's probably somebody else's. So this whole beautiful sort of realm, this trinity of different aspects of your life and different layers of who you really are is actually fun to explore and start to tap into each one as it calls you, as opposed to thinking you have to like get all this cleaned up by next month. You wouldn't be able to.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I forget this myself quite a bit, that we do pick up other people's energies, and I'll get home and I go and just feel really weird, and I really forget. But then there are the few times I say, okay, that's it. I release all the energy that I picked up, and I call back my energy that I gave away. We really can do that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. My stepdaughter, who is a elementary school teacher, but working with very disabled children, mostly with autism. She had a really, really rough day the other day, and she just felt lousy. And I said, I work with energy. So here's another tip for your audience is just go into the shower. And when you're having a shower, just say, I'm releasing all this energy down the drain. This energy that's not mine, help me remove it. And, your beautiful spiritual team around you is going to help you, your healing guides. I release that energy, just like what you did. That's perfect, Carl. But you want it to leave your house too. You don't want it floating around in there. So just when you say what you do, Carl, just say, and go outside and dissolve, or go outside and turn into higher light. But this one down the drain, it really helps people. Like, I just release all energy that's not mine, all foreign energy, just get out of my body. And that should help remove some of that. Yeah.
That's really good advice. But, just going back for a moment, talking about being a mystic, I think that sometimes people misperceive or maybe it's entrainment from the way the media perceives it, that mystics are like some occult. I think you said you've been investigating some of the earthly and darker aspects of energy and spirituality. How do you address that about misidentifying a mystic?
That's a really good point that you brought up. Back in the 30s, when I was in my early 30s, not the 30s, when I was in my early 30s and I started all this work, it was we had to hide. We had to just hang out with a small group of people, because guess what? We'd be labeled witches. And witches have a terrible connotation. I think witches are really cool. They just do things. And there's a lot of great witches out there and good witches out there. They just work with spells in a way that we work with manifestation. It's the same thing, right? So when I started back into this work online about 3 years ago, I was really hesitant to go out there and just say all this stuff publicly on a website, right? And then my social media. But my friends and family who I shared it with, and my husband, it's like they always knew I was a healer. They always knew I was psychic. And I'm bringing that work back too, by the way. And I was, instead of intuitive, I know I'm psychic. And that's part of being a mystic as well. But a mystic is also embodying this as well. It is about transforming your life in your physical body into, I guess, a temple would be the best way of saying it. So just looking at how I live my life. I'm very careful who I hang out with now in terms of who I spend my time with, and I don't want to pick up their energy, or I don't want to hear their stuff, especially people who are not growing anymore. Unfortunately, it's challenging if it's within a family realm, but if it doesn't align with me, these are the things that I just don't align with. And back here, I have a beautiful little shrine where I worship Goddess, and it's very physical with flames and water and oil. So I think that in terms of the mystic is really tapping into that and understanding the power of the unseen world. It's not just up above, I'm starting to learn, it's actually the earth itself, and it's the underworld. And that's where a lot of the ancestral Celtic stuff is. It's the power of the underworld, and not in a bad way. Though I think just embodying all that, having it in my life, reading about it, doing it, practicing it, feeling it, and keep improving myself. I don't even like the word improvement because it just sounds so progressive and productive, but just expanding myself and just learning more and more about me. And it took me a long time to get here. So if any of your listeners are going, oh, well, I just feel like I have a long way to go. Yeah, I wish I'd known now, which I knew then, but there wasn't much information back then. And right now, like your show, Carl, this is amazing because people go, okay, wait a minute, I can shift. In fact, the way the energies are set up right now, per the universal plan, I guess you could say, is we are accelerating much faster on a conscientious level. We are awakening, and we're getting it, and the realms are closer. The spiritual beings are right there waiting to talk to you, and that's what I teach, is how to connect with these, right? So it's a lot easier than back then, where you were considered a witch and there was not a lot of information. You had to figure things out yourself, maybe old books. and you didn't know how to work really that advanced with energy like you can now.
Yeah, I've had many guests talk about that humanity and Earth are on the cusp of a complete transition from the 3D to the 5D, from carbon-based to crystalline. And yeah, it is an interesting time. Every guest say that something is really in the offing for humanity, in a good manner, we hope. So we'll find out about that. But, since we're talking about mysticism, why don't we find out about your soon-to-be released book, The Embodied Mystic? Can you tell us about that, how it came about?
Oh yeah, it was I get these impulses and I know that I'm guided, and a lot of it was channeled, and it's about how to how to work with those three large areas in your life. And the fourth part of the book is all practical. So how to connect with divine, how to work with energy and heal yourself, how to tap into your ancestral blood, maybe release some of those old inherited behaviors, like mostly survival, right? That's what a lot of that, the biggest pieces are from our ancestors in our gene and our genetic makeup is responding to things in order to survive and learning in your life. Like if you have certain ways you see things or certain reactions you always have and you're tired of them, maybe that's ancestral. And then working with Mother Earth and watching for signs from the animal kingdom. And so it's all these beautiful layers that we have to really embrace ourselves as a human being, but also realize we're these amazing energetic structure. Everything about us is energy. Even our skin, it looks like it's solid and our bones are, it's all condensed energy. And the vessel you're in most certainly can be reconstructed, it can be lightened up, right? So this book is about how what all these pieces are and helping people recognize it in themselves, and then how to work with it to strengthen it, to make it, to be more aware of it. Yeah.
When is it going to be released?
The middle of January 2026 should be
Okay.
coming out.
I think people can go on your website right now and get on a waiting list for it, right?
Yeah, yeah, they can get on a waiting list, and they're going to get some backstories about it, and they're going to get the opening chapter so they can read what the book is going to be about. I sent that to you as well. Yeah, and so when it's released, they'll be the first to know.
Well, this is all very cool stuff that you do. I really love it. And, the other thing that I'm really curious about is how and why do people refer you to as being the soul whisperer?
One of my clients called me that because this is what I do is I work with their soul. I get a lot of messages. I actually, as I said before, I directly ask their soul, okay, what are they coming down here for? What did they agree to? They signed the contract, right? They created it. What can they do now in their life to move forward? Where are they going in this lifetime? What are they hoping to, particular state to reach? And so I get messages, and then I come back and I tell them, and time again it resonates with them, which I'm happy because I don't want to freak them out, right? Or I don't want to give them some news where they're like completely thrown off life. For some of them, it is a step up in what they're going to do. For some of them, they realize they need to go on a discovery, adventure in their life. Like, for example, I had two separate beautiful men down in the States, and they're of Indian descent. And for some reason, both of them, one had more of a royalty connection, energetically, some sort of, there was a connection that he had. He's a modern day sage, I called him. Is he needed to go back to India and help them clear some stuff like generationally, right? So there's a very much of a strong caste system in India. And so he needed to go back and do work. I didn't know what that meant, but I told him that he understood that not just his own family to heal on a generational level, but other people as well. The other fella is he needed to go back and and reconnect with his ancestral, the culture, that he was going to find a new depth for himself as a man. So there's things that like this. I've seen somebody like they're going to be part of a revolution in terms of not overthrowing government or anything like that, or nothing aggressive, but this thing that just is going to shift something. And they got it. They go, I've been working on that. And they didn't tell me before. In fact, when I do sessions with people, I don't ask them any questions. I don't have a survey or anything. I don't want to know. I just go straight into it. And so these are the things that I work with. And I just get really profound answers that I'm so excited for them. Like, they're just amazing people. And when they start to see all the components of themselves and then their possibility, you just see that they just start to light up, and they realize that, and they just start moving forward. And I seem to attract people that have, some wherewithal in terms of they've done a lot of work already. They've done a lot of discovery. They've really have tried to be, good human beings, and in the work that they do. And I just love working with people like that. And I do work with people that are really struggling. And I have to do a lot of energetic clearing on them, because they have old stuff in them. They've got shields around them. There's these protective shields from being so hurt. And so that takes a lot more work than just working on, here's what your soul says, right? Because they're just very much in pain, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So it's just like moving all that stuff out. So there's usually the two types. But now I'm not doing that so much as I am teaching. I'm teaching people how to self-heal. I'm teaching people how to work with all these different beautiful layers of themselves and learn how to work like within this enlightenment trinity, and how they can be more empowered, because I think this is where it's going. I think people are going to be able to develop on their own. They're their own initiates on their spiritual path. And I'm just one teacher along the way. And I just really love that. And I think this is what's happening with people. They just need that base understanding, work with really quality principles and knowledge. Like most of my stuff is based on ancient and traditional wisdom and practices, right? It's not stuff I've made up. Some of it's channeled as well. I've taken studies in what they call a spiritual science. And this is all based on all the ancient texts and learning how people used to develop, spiritually. And it used to just be a select few, right? So, yeah.
I love what you do with that. I imagine that each and every one of us need to clear some type of a cycle of ancestral karma, because we carry that all around and we wonder, well, why am I doing this? Why do I keep doing that? And we don't realize it's baggage we're carrying from other lifetimes.
Yeah, possibly. Exactly. Or you picked up somebody else's energy, or
Right. Yeah.
sometimes it's just a lesson you need to learn, like, and then you dig a little deeper and you realize, like, recently what was I doing? I was doing some sort of unpacking of work, some spiritual work. And I just realized a big thing for me was, I have issues with abandonment. And when I go into my own past lives, I teach people how to do that too, through their Akashic records. I realized many times I had been let down or cruelly abandoned. One time I was left to die in a cave.
Oh.
Right. So I was a leper once. So, and it's like, and it's still in this life now, in terms of it's converted to people pleasing, which I never thought I would ever call myself a people pleaser. I'm a very independent, strong lady. Right. But now I'm starting to see that. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, I am not alone. I have this beautiful spiritual team around me, right? I am spirit, so I'll never be alone. I've got the love of the universe. And so those are part of the awakenings that start to happen. You realize there's behavior you had before. Where does that come from? It can come from a few different places, as far as from what I've seen and experienced. And dealing with that, it can be really quick too. When you start to figure that out, you go, wait a minute, that's why I'm doing that. And some take a little longer to work through.
I really like that you have mentioned spiritual teams that we each have. A Course in Miracles states clearly that if we really knew the companions that walk beside us on the path we have chosen, fear would be impossible.
Yeah, I mean, just like, again, start watching those near-death experiences of people that get pulled out for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they were dead, and then they go through this experience where they think they're up there for a couple of days, and that will tell you there's civilizations out there. There's actually buildings, and I've heard this before where our soul's on a spiritual path, right? That's why we're here, right? We're working something out for our soul, which is on probably a different, spiritual path than we are on as human beings. Just like we are them and they are us. So it's getting your head around that. But I understand it's very hard, because then you wake up the next day and your car's dead. I got to deal with my car, right? So it's just well, yeah, exactly. Okay, this is just a human life. I'm in a human life. It's messy. It's complex. It can be hot and angry. There's stuff you got to get around, and you got to find ways, and that's all the part of it. Then actually the beauty of it, I'm starting to see. I mean, there's times, Carl, I look up and I go, you come down here and do this, because we're actually quite revered for coming down here. There's lineups to come down here and incarnate, and they realize how tough it is. So they can't really evolve the way we're evolving down here. I'm not saying we're better than any other spiritual realm or being, because I don't know everything, that's for sure. But we come down into this 4D body that can contain emotions, that can go on inside of us, where we're like immediately, intensely in these situations that are asking us to build our wisdom, build our resilience, build our understanding, build our compassion. And it actually starts to crystallize our energetic structure. And that energetic structure or field is what goes on past this life when we die. So it goes into the next time we come to Earth, or whatever other dimension we're going to, or existence we're going to. That's why it's important to do this spiritual work, because it helps build up your structure, which will continue on in the next life. So, apparently, people that are really down and out and, skid road, it's going to take them a while to build up their energetic structure for many different lives, or whatever the plan is.
Well, I'm going to yell at that lineup of beings waiting to become humans. Don't do it. It's too crazy down
exactly.
here. It's too, no.
We need less people down here. Go find another planet.
Sometimes I sit around and I say to myself, what was I thinking deciding to come here? Holy mackerel. Oh my gosh. Well, and I mentioned A Course in Miracles real quick. Another thing that the Course is very, very clear about is that this life in this 3D body, in a human body, is nothing but a dream of separation from Source. And it's like a nightmare. And what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've learned, and again, through my own sources and teachings and trainings and all that, and I absolutely agree. The second we come back here, we're supposed to forget our connection. We're supposed to forget our spiritual self. We're supposed to make our way back to it. It's like, oh, okay, so if we could remember everything, if we were completely enlightened when we came down here, I guess we'd be Buddha, right? But like why come down here, right? So yeah, that is what happened. That is the biggest one. So that's why I'm trying to help people discover who they are and why they are here, which changes things. It's a game changer for. And it doesn't. Some people get it right away, and other people it takes a little while, and that's cool, right? If you just keep working on that intuitive openness, you keep working on your perspective about how the cosmos is around you and part of your life, you start working on your energy field so you can receive more. It's when it's blocked and dirty and other people's junk is in there, you can't receive as much. You're like not the greatest antenna. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about intuition. I know that's something that you teach and talk about. Isn't intuition really just Source trying to talk to us and guide us, but most of us don't pay attention?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's about being able to pick up information on all sorts of levels, right? Even from understanding animals to understanding the vibe in the room. A lot of people can do that. It's that sense. And then be able to communicate and commune with spirit for sure. Yeah, that's a huge one. Yeah, and just even predicting, understanding. I have a really good sense of what's probably going to happen, yeah, in the immediate future and in the future. I just tap in and I listen. I don't ask anybody directly. So it's that sort of thing. I don't try to tap in how I'm going to die because I really don't want to know.
Yeah. Well, as I've followed my spiritual studies path and desire to open up and know these things, I have started to listen a lot more, and I now realize that these things, seemingly innocuous things, are actually being our guides, reminding us, like, I'm about to leave, and all of a sudden, hey, you forgot your keys. And I realize that it's not just me. Remember, it's, hey, dude, it's my spirit guides going, don't forget that. And these other things like that. And it really is. If you're, oh, wait, don't turn there, turn left. You just know, do that,
Absolutely. They don't interfere with your life, but they most certainly leave little messages and nudges, and they put things in front of you, and they're trying to get your attention because they want you to, they love you. They want you to stay on your path that you came down here, and they want you to be able to evolve. People say, oh, these coincidences happen, or you're online and you just can't download that thing, or you just can't enter to get into that free thing no matter what you do. Maybe you're not supposed to, right? So I'm not saying they do it like every second of the day, but listen, watch those little those symbols and those messages and those coincidences that happen. If you do, it's like, that's interesting. Okay. Right. Because we all, our lives are so busy right now and they're so full of noise, mine too. And we're trying to figure it all out on our own. And we have to get all the hows down so that, again, as human beings, we're just geared for survival. Mm-hmm. And surviving, in order to survive, we need to learn. So we love learning. And the best way we can learn too is through storytelling, by the way. So this is what you're doing here. But so we're just geared to progress and learn, and survive. And the Darwinian notion of, the strongest will survive. So you just, get your adapt. And what do I have to do now? And it's just exhausting. It really is. I'm not saying stop that, because you do need to look after yourself, and you do need a warm house, and you do need food, and you do need money to survive. But we get so busy with that, we just stop listening. And then until a crisis happens, and that's called the school of hard knocks. And then you start listening.
I think in today's modern world, one reason that we don't listen to our intuition or hear our guides lovingly guiding us is you're exactly right. We have so much noise in our life, not only auditorily, but visually. I'm a runner. I go out running, and literally everybody's got earbuds in their ears, and they got a cell phone in their face. I'm running in a park, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and I'm thinking, no, they don't hear their own voice, their own guides, because it's just like cacophony in your ears and eyes, and it's like, boy, talk about a big block in your life.
Absolutely. And the way you're doing it, first of all, you were connecting with Mother Nature when you just said it was a beautiful park and a beautiful day. You were connecting with Mother Nature, and you were able to hear yourself. And I think a lot of those people are listening stuff too, because they're trying to find answers. Their answers are, let me tell you, your biggest, most reliable guide in your life is your soul. And that's my big message. You have to learn how to connect to that soul and get that divine guidance. It's not going to tell you what type of yogurt you should buy. Like, don't bother them with that. But it most certainly gives you, the direction you should go, how to deal with situations in your life, challenges. What is your purpose? And it just it just calms you down and simplifies your life. And you realize, I have been running in some rat race. We've heard it in every generation, right? In every era. And it's like, if you just really simplify it, and I do too, I get caught up in it, and they say, listen, they say to me, you're just supposed to help people remember who they are so they can start connecting to us. Okay, keep it simple. Keep it simple. And it's not, well, and I've added the complexity of all the layers of us. There's the divine, there's the energetic, there's the human, there's the bloodline, there's Mother Earth. I mean, just playing with all those, we're more than just one thing. Is complex being, that spiritual and energetic and human. And yeah, it's pretty cool actually if you think about it.
Yeah, I think people have gotten to the point where they're so used to hearing and seeing something constantly 24/7 that when there is silence in a moment of solitude, they're afraid to hear their own thoughts.
I was just watching a show last night with my husband, and I found the whole concept so fascinating. It was the competition between the two German brothers who created the Adidas runners and the Puma runners. And they
Right.
were like, right. And I mean, they could have had the competition between themselves all they wanted, but if the world didn't go, I want those runners because this athlete is wearing it, or this basketball player is wearing it, and I want to wear those so then I can feel good, and the three stripes and the Puma and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, it's $1 billion industry over a shoe. And it's like, that is fascinating because it's not about the guys that are making the shoes. It's about who's buying it, right? And I'm not saying you're wrong to have some really cool, trendy fashions on because everyone likes that. But it's just the notion behind it is, it just fascinates me how markets can tap into the psychos, the psyche of society and what it is that they really need.
Yeah. Well, we've been talking to Dr. Kelly Edmonds, just a beautiful conversation here. We are going to wind up in a few minutes here right now. Now, you work one-on-one with people. What is the main issue that you encounter with your clients?
I think a lot of them are burdened with old challenges that could be karmic, could be from past lives. They are looking to excel, evolve, I should say, not excel, evolve, and they don't know why things are blocking them. And it's about uncovering that. And I don't so much do one-on-ones anymore. I want to do one-to-many. I want to teach more people because I can just reach more people, but I teach them how to do this themselves. And every now and then I'll do a soul clarity session. But it's about really starting to recognize who they are, because there's blocks in them, and there's those different energetic blocks. It can be a past life block, which I'm just about to start a membership in January 2026. It's called the Year of Becoming Journey, and it's a subscription model where every month there's a new theme, and there's live sessions with me, and they're in this small sacred group of people. And we're going to be delving into all these pieces. Each month has a new piece, a new layer of them to discover who they are. And then all through it is these instructions, these activations and audio guides on how to self-clear, how to work with their energy and clear it out. So it's going to be a really fun program to run. I'm looking forward to it. So that starts in, a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. And that's on your website. What is it? Just kellyedmonds.com?
Yeah, kellyedmonds.com with an O. Kelly Edmonds with an O. Yeah.
And I will put that link in the show notes too. Just
Thank you.
real quickly, what you personally, what was your wildest and most memorable spiritual or enlightenment experience you've ever had?
I went to this 4-day healing retreat 2 years ago, and it was very physical and visceral. And it was about clearing out old blocks. And you went through into this, trance. And it really surprised me. I did this because I'm very careful on whose energy is working, who's working on me, whose energy is around me. But I went through this, and it was amazing and powerful. And to the point where I got rid of a lot of blocks and emotional blocks that I had, that I know how they all happened in this lifetime. So some not such great stuff happened to me when I was young. And I got rid of those blocks because it's physically in you, right? And at the same time, I had these spiritual encounters with God, Jesus, Mother Mary, the Black Madonna, And I wasn't shocked. It's like, hey, cool, right? Because you can tap into all these. They're all standing there waiting. Well, not really waiting. I mean, they do have things to do, but that was amazing. By day 4, I was like, oh wow, that really helped shift a lot from my physical body and my structure, my energetic structure.
And now you are who you are, the soul whisperer and author with a new book, The Embodied Mystic, about to come out. And again, your website is kellyedmonds.com, and I'm sure anybody can find you on social media. You got to be there these days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Instagram. I'm moving away from Facebook actually because I just love Instagram. It's very visual, and there's this etheric feel about it. It can be more beautiful and moody, and I'm spending more time there. I'm getting a lot of followers over there and interacting with them. Facebook, I don't know. I've tried for years. It's just a bit cold, or I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm over mostly in Instagram at Dr. Kelly Edmonds, Dr. KELLYEDMONDS.
Got it. All right. Kelly, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you for doing what you do. I believe there's a lot brighter light shining in Calgary, Alberta, Canada now because of you.
Aw, thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to meet you, Carl, and thank you for the work you do. Enlightening other people, for sure.
This has been another episode of World Awakenings, the fast track to enlightenment with host Carl Gruber, a certified law of attraction life coach. We welcome you to tune in to each and every episode of World Awakenings as we open your mind, your heart, and your eyes to the fact that the world's population is now more than ever awakening to the truth of all things spiritual, metaphysical, and enlightening, and just how much they play an all-important role in our moment-to-moment daily life. Much love and light to you, my friend, and thank you for tuning into World Awakenings.